Hello and welcome to LSE Focus. It is post-match reaction show time after Liverpool have unfortunately begun their defence of the Champions League crown with a 2-0 loss away to Napoli at the Stadio San Paolo. And I think it's fair to say that we feel a bit of a sense of injustice about that. And I'm going to come straight on to the penalty. I know normally in these videos I break the match down chronologically, start things off with how we began the game, go through the first half, then move on to how things changed in the second half, going through it event by event. But I feel like there's only one place to really start the video, and that is by talking about the moment where the match was pretty much completely turned on its head, because the balance of power shifted at various points, but it felt like at that point where the penalty was given, the previous 10 minutes had been kind of all Liverpool. And although, you know, I was kind of getting to the point where I was thinking, you know what, this might end up being a 0-0, we were gradually turning the screw to the point where I felt like we were going to get yet another sort of classic Liverpool away goal like we saw so many times last season. And then unfortunately it happens at the other end instead, and I just feel like the penalty, it's just a joke, isn't it? I mean, we already had the whole thing at the weekend where there was this debate of what clear and obvious actually meant when it came to VAR because of the Matip incident, and everyone looking at that and thinking, well, if that is not a clear and obvious foul, then we don't really know what the hell is. And I feel like that's just come back again tonight with the foul by Andrew Robertson. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to look at that and see that Callahan has blatantly conned the ref. He's going down like way before he even goes near Andrew Robertson. His feet stop dead. He plants his feet on the ground. He's not running into Andrew Robertson. He runs towards Andrew Robertson. Then he stops, he plants his feet, and then he goes over like that. And Robertson is here. Callahan's running like this. He stops, he goes over, and then he takes some contact from Robertson on the way down. And it's just, they said on BT Sport that it's not clear and obvious because there's contact in there, but if, you know, VAR has proved anything, it's that you can't make these things binary matters of either, you know, 1 or 0, contact or no contact, handball or no handball. That's why they changed the handball rule to this whole natural silhouette thing, because of the whole thing of, you know, it can't just be if it's handball, if it touches their hand, it's handball, and if it doesn't, it's not. There's got to be an element of subjectivity, and I don't mean that in terms of the whole clear and obvious thing where you say, well, it's a subjective choice and you've got to say, well, maybe the referee was just being either strict or lenient, but there's got to be an element of subjectivity insofar as you can't just look at it and say, well, there's contact so it's a foul, or there's no contact so it's a dive. Obviously when there's no contact it's almost definitely going to be a dive, but sometimes there's contact and it's not a foul, it's a contact sport, and you've got to look at the way that contact was instigated. And in this situation it's not a foul by Andrew Robertson. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's not gone to take Callahan down. He's not sort of, you know, attacked him or cynically brought him down in the box without any attempt to play the ball. Robertson's crime in this situation was standing there and doing nothing. His crime was being present in the box, and all Callahan did was just ran straight into him. He knew exactly what he was doing, and unfortunately the referee gets conned. And if VAR can't look at that and say, well, he's clearly deceived the referee here, so we're going to let him have another look, because I feel like, you know, Felix Brick, he didn't have the best night as the ref. He let some things go he shouldn't have, and then he made some decisions. He gave some fouls where I felt like he was kind of giving in to the incredibly intense atmosphere of the San Paolo. And I just feel like VAR, they've got to look at that and say the referee needs to see that again. And I feel like, even though, like I said, he had a bad night at some points, the referee, even he's going to look at that and say, yeah, he's had me on a little bit there. He's obviously, it's the simple fact of him going over before he even hits Andrew Robertson. It's so blatant that he's only going over to look for a penalty and he's not actually being fouled. And then obviously as well, the fact that Adrian gets the hand to it, you feel like there's even more injustice there. It's just, I'm not saying Liverpool deserve to win this game or anything like that, but I certainly don't think we deserve to lose it. And the circumstances of the loss as well really feel like a kick in the teeth, because it shouldn't have happened that way. And it just feels like Groundhog Day again in multiple ways, with the VAR situation, with the fact it being at Napoli. I think we definitely played so much better than we did last season. We attacked a lot better. I don't think we were at our fluid best, but we certainly showed the intent to get at Napoli. And I think definitely in the first half, it was a fantastic game of football. I thought there were standout performers all over the pitch for Liverpool in that first half. What I really was enjoying seeing was the link up between the midfield and the attack. There seemed to be a clear channel established there of how we were going to get the ball, win it back in the middle of the park through fast pressing football, you know, taking down that Napoli midfield, and then very quickly getting it to our attackers as quickly as possible to put them on the counter-attack. And I feel like It's maybe a small criticism of the attack that they didn't make the most of that, because I think they certainly had the options tonight, and if they had all been sharper, if they had all been slightly more in sync, if the weather hadn't been as, you know, hot and humid as it clearly was, and it was sort of, I think, affecting the way they were playing, then I reckon they would have been a lot sharper going forward. But I think the midfield was very, very good. Fabinho was fantastic, especially in the first half. The way he pressed, the way he constantly won it back, and like I said, not just winning it back, but immediately setting the ball going as well. These weren't just mindless tackles trying to take the ball off someone. These were tackles with the intent to actually play someone through as well, and that was great to see. I also thought Van Dijk and Matip were brilliant throughout the first half and most of the second half as well. Matip just dealt with everything that was thrown at him. Van Dijk looked so composed. He obviously makes a bit of a boob for the second goal, but I feel like at that point the game was pretty much gone. It's kind of clear that Liverpool aren't getting back into it because we just couldn't establish a foothold. It was just annoying how things changed because of the penalty, because like I said, the 10 minutes before that, we were the ones in control. Napoli had lost their way. Their shape was all over the shop. We had possession. We were in their half most of the time. Like I said, gradually turning the screw, getting closer and closer to their goal, creating chances more and more frequently, and then suddenly they get the penalty. Like I said, it's gutting that Adrian doesn't get to it, because he gets down, he gets a hand to it. It's a strong hand as well. You can hear the ball hit his hand, and you really, really were hoping, as I saw him go down, that he was going to make the save, and I'm gutted that he didn't. But once that then happens, like I said, the game switches round. Liverpool lose composure. We don't look like we've got a hope in hell of getting back into the game, and then Napoli suddenly have the confidence to go up the other end, and it's annoying because it doesn't feel fair. It's annoying because it feels like Napoli didn't earn it. It's annoying because it feels like we've been unjustly punished for, you know, essentially what wasn't a foul. That's what I come back to, the fact that Robertson wasn't doing anything wrong. It's not like he even was going to foul Callahan. It's not like he sticks out a clumsy leg. You know, if he stuck out a clumsy leg and then Callahan went over but, you know, kind of still drew the contact, I can at least say, well, that's poor from Robertson. He's played into the attacker's hands there. But what the hell is he supposed to do apart from move out the way, which in itself doesn't make any sense? It's just, it's a pain in the arse, isn't it? Let's be honest. I feel like I'm probably going to look upon this with completely different eyes tomorrow. It's obviously not the end of the world. This was always going to be the toughest game of the group, and if we were going to lose a game, it was always going to be this one. It's annoying to start off on the wrong foot and then have to kind of climb our way back up the standings. You feel like now this means that the game against Napoli at Anfield is going to have to mean something, because there's going to be that whole thing about trying to finish first in the group to ensure a slightly favourable draw in the round of 16. And if anything, given the favourable draw we've got in the group stage, we'd want this wrapped up as soon as possible. And I just feel like, you know, we could have come away with a really, really good point today. Like I said, the attack had opportunities, but their attack had opportunities as well. The save from Adrian earlier on was absolutely fantastic. I can't go the video without talking about that as well. And I feel so gutted for him that he comes away without a clean sheet and without anything to really show for that performance, because I think that was probably his best performance so far in a Liverpool shirt. I said before the video, he was going to be, before the match, even in my pre-match video, that this was probably going to be his biggest test so far, and we were really going to see what he was made of and whether he could stand up in the really, really big matches for Liverpool. And I felt like he did. He made big saves at big points. He looked confident in his distribution as well. When the ball was getting passed back to him, he was getting put under pressure. He never worried. He knew when to go short and when to just kick it long and get the ball out. I thought, like I said, it was his best performance in Liverpool shirt, and I'm gutted for him, and I'm gutted for the defence, and I'm gutted for Robbo, and I'm gutted for Klopp and all the fans who went all the way to Naples again just to see their team lose in a way that's so gut-wrenchingly difficult to watch. But like I said, we can't really get ourselves down too much, because it is match day one. We can still win all the other games and come away with 15 points and probably top the group as a result, and suddenly this match pales away into insignificance. But at the end of the day, no one ever likes to see their team lose, especially when it's like that, because you worry that this is going to be repeated again. You look at the way they handled VAR in this game, and it really does feel like something needs to be done to sort out definitions around contact in the box, sort out definitions around clearance and obvious, because I know that the idea is to stop the game from sort of being completely stop-start and every single foul in, or potential foul in the box being reviewed. But that one, I feel, if you watch it enough times, especially the angle which looks like the view the referee has, it's clear that the referee has been conned, and they've got to look at that in the VAR truck and say he at least deserves another look. Even if you're not convinced he's going to overturn it, even if you think, you know, maybe he's just exercised his own judgment there and he feels like that was a foul and he might decide that that is still the case even after looking at the monitor, you at least should be giving him the opportunity to do so, because when it alters the result of the match, an extra 2 minutes here or there of the referee sprinting over to the halfway line and then sprinting back again really feels like it should, it needs to happen to make the difference and, you know, come up with the justified result for the game. So, like I said, it's a pain in the arse. It's never nice losing games, especially when Liverpool have been on such a hot streak. It felt like we were just going to win every game between now and the end of the season. But if we were going to lose any match, I would have made it this one, because I feel like we can recover in the Champions League. It obviously makes less of a difference than a loss in the league, where you feel like we genuinely do have to win every single game. And I just hope we can come flying out from the traps. We can come out better from this, and we can put in a fantastic performance against Chelsea at the weekend. And like I said, at the end of the day, if we carry on as normal, if we perform like that in our other Champions League games, if we even perform like that against Napoli at home, I feel like we will have no problem qualifying out of this group. It's just a shame to have sat through a game that I think we all enjoyed for the vast majority of it. It felt like a real battle, and it felt like a battle where both the teams deserve to take something out of it and see our own boys in red come away with absolutely nothing to show for their efforts. But like I said, hopefully everything will be fine. At the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. At the end of the day ends, whatever you want to say about it. Liverpool should hopefully be absolutely fine, and that is the message to end the video on. That is all for today's video. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you maybe found this experience slightly cathartic. I know I feel a little bit better now. I've got all my feelings about VAR out in the open. So why don't you vent down in the comments below? If you're absolutely raging that Liverpool didn't come away with anything today, then let it all out in the comments. Tell me what you think about VAR. Tell me whether you think that was clear and obvious, and whether they should have given the referee the opportunity to review it again, or whether you, despite your inherent Liverpool bias that we all know we have, you think that that actually should have been a penalty. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Apart from that, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button there if you're new around here. Check out some of the other videos I've been out on the channel over the past few days. Don't forget to follow at LFC Focus TV on Twitter. And I'll be back soon for the pre-match content for the game against Chelsea. Until then, bye for now.